how much faith do you have? It doesn't have to be that big. You know, sometimes within the week, the kinds of things you hear, the phone calls that come through, the messages, you just know that people aren't feeling too good in, all aspects of their lives, financially, in their relationships, in their marriages, with their children going wayward and all. So you would see that someone is very beautifully dressed up, a man is, all, looking dapper and everything. But if you have conversations with them, if you showed a little bit of care, you would see that people are dealing with a lot of things. And so, for you out there who is dealing with so much, I just like you to have a little bit of faith. Don't despair. I know sometimes it's difficult not to despair, but even if you decide to despair, still believe that it is possible. Still believe, have a little bit of faith. And if you're out there, please try and show a little bit of care. Just a tiny little bit of care. When you meet people, try to be nice, because people are dealing with a lot. It's not your fault. They're not dealing with so much because you did anything to them, but you could help them get through it. And so let's be a little bit nice, show a little bit care. And for you who is out there dealing with so much, just a little bit of faith. Believe and hope things would be all right someday. Amen. This morning on Home Affairs, we're having a very important conversation. Remember last week we started talking about having hard conversations, and we laid the foundation that it's very important that no matter how difficult the conversation is, you should be able to have those conversations, because look, they will come back to eat you up. And we established a number of things that you should know your partner, know what makes them tick, be able to schedule the conversation, make sure that you're talking to them at the time that they would listen. And if during the conversation you realize that tempers have gone high, people are upset and all that, you will try to pause and have the conversation, whichever way. We also established that if you have those conversations, what happens is that it may not be pleasant, your partner may not be happy, a lot could go haywire in your home, but what happens to you eventually is that you breathe and you have some peace, and then you begin to put things right. So no matter how difficult it is, don't hide it, try and talk about it. And today we are talking about one of such difficult conversations: your marriage and the law. Yesterday, when we had this conversation and we were going around it, you realize that it is one area that we neglect, we never talk about. So, we're saying that getting married is a very big decision. And it isn't just about making a lifelong commitment to your partner. Marriage is a legal contract. When you get married, you not only accept rights and benefits, but you also take on legal and financial obligations. Do we even have these conversations? Quite often, what you'd realize is that it is when, at the point where they are telling you, I have been to this, a couple of people have signed off their marriages at the court, and you go, and that's when they tell you, they try to explain it to you a little bit, and then that is it. But during marital counseling, the premarital counseling and all, I have asked several people, and I am told it is never a conversation. It never comes up for discussion. Never let you know that what you're entering it into, in as much as yes, we agree that it is a covenant between you, your partner, and God. It also has legal implications. So we're asking a number of questions this morning. Have you ever considered the legal implications of your marriage? Have you ever had any such conversations with your partner? Was it even discussed during premarital counseling? But do you know that your marriage is a legal, regardless of everything, is a legal contract that is binding on the two of you? But the details of the contract, how binding it is, how you're able to get out of it and all that, we do not know. The only time you realize that this marriage you're in has, legal implications, I'm sure, is when it probably doesn't work, and then you will have to go to the law courts. That's when you get to realize that just as you said, I love you to get married, You don't simply say, I don't love you to get out. The courts have the right to tell you that the reasons for which you want to break off this union are not irreconcilable. So go and probably try to make it work. And so we want to understand what we are entering legally and be able to equip ourselves before we enter. It is very important that you understand these things before you enter into it. And it is based on a certain interesting story a friend of mine shared with me. She is 45 and still single because she's been asking this particular question. And by the time she's done, 3 guys, by the time she's done, everybody flees. But let me introduce my guest to you this morning. Lawyer Kweku Pencil, good morning.
Fine morning.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
It's always exciting to have you because of all the hats you wear. He's a lawyer, he's a family life counselor, and then he is a pastor. So you know that we're going to deal with this in a very 360 way. So very exciting to have you.
Thank
Home
you.
Affairs is brought to us by Onga. Mama's Helping Hand, Koba Payments app, Koba Our Life Simplified, Kel Kids Toothpaste for children between 2 and 6 years, a product from Samara Company Limited, Kel Kids, Happy Smile, Amasha Partners Limited, your one-stop optical solution provider, Fortune Rice, always on point, just like Mom, Seal Immigration, your Canadian immigration partner in Ghana, and Better Malt, because like Mommy, like me. And let me just tell you that Better Malt has an interesting promotion for us on the show, so you just want to listen. So what you just have to do for me today is for you to share 6 to 8 lines. You can start writing it while the show is ongoing and send it in, a poem or rhyme about Better Malts, just using like mommy, like me, like mommy, like me. That's the theme. So just write a short poem, and then we have packs of Better Malts to give to you, between 6 and 8 lines. Not plenty, so just get creative already and then send it over. I'll tell you more about it as the show progresses. But Lawyer, good morning again.
Fine morning.
Okay, great. So I was telling you, or all of us, that a friend of mine is 45.
Yes.
And she's still single. She has given up on marriage now because you know how they tell you that some of us were they say you are book long. So you ask too many questions. She has lived, she has worked, she's quite wealthy, quite comfortable. And she says she found a man, they were in a good relationship. And just when marriage came up, she started asking the questions about the legal implications of what we want to do. And every time she brings it up, the men push it aside. And the question has always been that, are you getting into this for love, for us to grow together, or you're interested in law, property, and all that? And she says her point has always been that it is not about law and property, but I need to know who you are. Do you have debts? Are you carrying some baggage and everything? Because once we become one, she believes that your liabilities will become mine and mine will be yours. And then I am able to know. And also because, you've heard stories about people get into a relationship, they probably get a joint account, and then somebody will bolt with it. Now you have your house, maybe your wife or your husband moves in with you. By the time the marriage is going south, they say you are dividing everything into 2 and all of those. And so with all of these things on her mind, she feels like, look, let's have a lawyer and have this conversation and understand our commitments by way of when it comes to legal implications. Let's understand what the commitment means beyond the covenant, beyond the love, and beyond the I love you, I want to live the rest of my life with you. Things go bad. If you check the statistics, divorce, people are getting divorced every now and then. And so let's have all the conversations. Let's talk about the spiritual aspect. Let's talk about the number of children we will have. Let's talk about everything, including what this thing implies legally. Because she said to me that, Adam, it is only when you decide that you're getting divorced that you know that marriage is based on law. Because you don't just get up and pack your bags and say, I am gone, and it ends there. No, you will have to properly get divorced because they tell you that what you're doing is legally binding and all that. So she wanted to understand. And the men don't understand. They think she's selfish. They think you're not looking for love. They think you're conceited and all of those. And the relationship always goes south. And I mean, a couple of our friends, we have these conversations and they feel like, Madam, you're pushing this thing too far. But she's not backing off, so she's still single. So this morning, we want to understand some of these things from your perspective as a family life counselor, a lawyer, and, a pastor. When you're doing premarital counseling, is it one of the things that are talked about? Maybe because you're a lawyer, you talk about it. Does it really come up? Is it a conversation?
Sometimes it comes up, but my first reaction is that marriage is not an economic decision.
It is not what? An economic?
It can never be an economic decision.
Okay.
And whenever you are considering a marriage and you start with an economic decision, you are
It's
out.
flawed.
No, it's totally flawed. You can't start it. And I'm being honest with you. I'm very sorry. Sometimes I have to speak as a human being.
Of course.
I wear all of these hats.
Yeah.
The starting point for marriage is what they call falling in love. I'm telling you, you have
Great.
to give something away. There has to be.
So what getting married is a risk, right?
It's a risk, and it's worth the risk because nobody really can assess.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying? When you meet your wife, at the point that you meet, you are all in different stations of life. Nobody is able to determine how each one is going to be in any particular point in time. But once we've decided we want to go together, that's the real deal. And all these issues, I've had a few, I think in my practice of 30 years plus, there's only one time that some people came for what they call premarital agreement, which I did for them. It never happens. It's only in other places where...
What was in that agreement?
A
And what
premarital
pushed them?
agreement, the idea, I think mutual suspicion. When you are starting marriage... You see, when you starting marriage and you suspect that. But I think, let me put it this way. The real truth of it is, when you are quite matured in age, in time, and have acquired property, that's where the real worries come in. That's where the real worries come in. Because you cannot tell if, for instance, in the case of men, you can't tell whether this girl who's coming in is coming because of my properties, because of what. That's where the suspicion sets in.
Yeah.
So possibly, for people who are marrying late, like this your friend, these are genuine concerns. I'm not saying they are not genuine concerns, but I'm telling you that as long as he holds on to them, she's on the wrong track. I'll be honest with you. Because you have to believe somebody. You have to give someone the benefit of the doubt. And if there is one institution where you really, really need to give the benefit of the doubt, it's in marriage. Indeed, it has been observed that in all aspects, facets, areas of life, everything that we do in this world, even if you want to be a plumber, you need to do some training before you get a license.
Okay.
You want to, it's only in marriage that you get a certificate to commence. And it has been said that that's God's own way of validating that institution and telling you that you will succeed no matter what. So that's the spirit of marriage. You have to believe that you will succeed. Obviously, things fall apart in a few of the cases, or most of the cases.
Exactly.
Don't mind. But even then, believe that, the exigencies, the circumstances, the particular situation that you find yourself will provide also a way out.
Great.
But please, I will tell this young woman, because I'm a pastor, let us just pray about it. Sometimes we pray to God and we think that we must get some form of answer like Samuel, God spoke into his ears, and therefore you expect to know. God sometimes doesn't do that. We have to believe that what we pray for, the Bible says when we stand praying, believe that what you asked for, you received it, and it shall come to pass. You know what I'm saying? I recommend to her, let her just pray about it to God. You've seen some man, you can't tell because even appearances are deceptive. That's why in the Christianity we've got what we call friendship, courtship, marriage. You know what I'm saying? You go through stages. And I'm telling you that if you commit yourself to these three stages of relationship, friendship, courtship, marriage, however, I mean, some of the guys are really bad, you know what I'm saying? They can hide all
So
manner
we
of
will
things.
we will be having the conversation
Good.
based on the few that are bad,
You
according
are,
to
so
you.
let's assume.
So we understand that marriage, I mean, it's a risk.
Yes.
You will have to bring yourself to believing in somebody
You're
and
right.
agreeing that I
Yes.
want to walk this
You're
path
very
with
right.
you.
Yes.
Great. And so you get into friendship with a person.
Yes.
Hopefully, you are looking out for a lot of things.
Sure.
Then you get into courtship.
You're right.
And then you marry.
Yes.
So these three stages, as you have mentioned, should be able to help you
Naturally.
to
see,
navigate
see,
the path and see
you're
a number
very
of things
right.
before you get into
You're
the
right.
marriage. Great. That is very well
But I'll tell you
established.
something, there's a caveat there, and I'm sorry I have to say this. You know, a lot of women, with due respect, the problem is the women, they give in too early. They open the Jerusalem gates. They open the Jerusalem gate, and I'm telling you that once you open the Jerusalem gate, your emotions get mixed up big time.
Well,
and
but
when
you
the
can't
person,
fall in love without your emotions.
But the point I'm making is there's a caution.
You're being political.
There's
you
a caution.
if you're in love with somebody
You're very right.
and you're holding
I'm
back
speaking
your
as a
emotions.
pastor. I'm
I
speaking as
know,
a pastor. And the point I'm making is that
but you're a
you
human
can,
being first of all.
please,
before a pastor.
I've always been. No, but I'm being very careful because, see, I will give you the kind of advice. If you follow it, fair enough. If you don't follow it, don't say it didn't work. You know what I'm saying? What didn't work is what you put into practice. So if a young woman and you're listening to me, my point is don't be too whatever, entertaining of that aspect of relationship. And the
What are
danger
you
is that
talking about? Is it sex?
I'm talking about sex.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that if they want from the beginning, because a man's mind is sex, and I'll put it that way, there's no missing of words. And I've always told women that when a man gets to the time that he will marry, he will make every sacrifice.
Okay.
Every sacrifice.
So those are the ideals.
You're right.
These things you have talked about
Sure.
are the ideals.
You're right.
But for the few who are skeptic, also because Lapenso, you know that these things go south sometimes.
Many times.
These things go wrong sometimes.
Many times.
There are people who are Bible believing born again Christians
Sure.
who still trip and fall
They do.
and end up, doing very, very negative things.
Naturally.
Great. And so we also know that apart from love, friendship, and courtship,
Yes.
because trust me, when they are blessing your marriage, or you
Yes.
go to have your, what's the right term? There's a term for it. You go and have your marriage,
You're very right.
have it done.
Solemnization. That's the
is that
way.
it?
Yeah, we
I'm talking about.
solemnize.
Okay, great. Let's just use it that way. I
You're
think what I am
right.
thinking about will come.
Uh-huh.
Now, you don't go and
Yes.
stand in front of the priest.
Sure.
Or if you decide to go and sign it off in court,
Yes.
they don't tell you that this marriage is based on love, courtship, and whatever. Love, friendship, and courtship. The
Yes.
marriage is not based on that.
You're right.
Now, it's a legal it's also a legal contract
You're
you
very
are
right.
entering into.
Sure.
And they tell you that if you, especially if it's the ordinance, then if you go and marry someone else apart from your wife,
Yes.
it's a criminal offense.
It is.
Great. So it is based on these that we want to have the conversation, because you don't also just go to church and kneel before the priest and they say we pronounce you husband and wife without you signing off that legal document.
Sure.
And so there is a reason why that document is signed.
You're very right.
Now, first thing I want us to understand is what is the importance of that document that is signed? What is the importance of it, and why do we have to sign it?
Yeah, I mean that's the evidence that
Okay,
two
so
people.
one, it's an evidence.
You're very right. That's the evidence that two people have come together to be pronounced husband and wife, and arising out of that, all the legal consequences, ramifications, and whatever they come out of
Please
it.
break those ones down
Yeah,
for us.
so
Some
what
of the legal consequences and ramifications that come with that signing.
Yeah,
I want you to break them
for
down
instance,
for
the
us.
fact that you are husband and wife give rights, responsibility, duties, obligations first as between you and your spouse.
Okay.
And what it means is that the obligations that you need to perform Indeed, since I was being very cautious, including giving sex
Okay.
to both parties,
Giving
including
sex to your partner
both parties, both parties.
that's what I said to your
Women
partner.
always think that sex is demanded by men, but I will be clear in this program that women also require sex
Oh, it's
to
very
make
important
them
to
very
us.
comfortable. So it is
So
both ways.
giving your partner sex
You're right.
is legal,
Very legal.
and you can be taken on for not doing
Indeed,
it.
it could invalidate the marriage if there is
Great.
evidence that we call it consummation.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, one of the incidents of a proper marriage or a valid marriage is consummation.
Consummation.
And if either party fails deliberately, willfully, to give sex to the other party, it makes the marriage voidable. In other words, one person can go to court and ask the court to invalidate the marriage on the basis that my spouse has
It's
refused to
refused.
give, willfully refused to give me sex. So it's very important.
Lawyer, so you realize that it is not just based on love, friendship, and courtship.
Well, it's part of it.
I'm glad we are getting into it.
You're right.
Which other rights are there?
Of course, the obligation includes looking after each other. I mean, typically, like issues of what do you call it? I mean, as a husband and wife, unfortunately, it's almost always the men, but I have to make it so. I mean, what they call housekeeping money. You have to be able to provide it. You have to make sure that based on what you provide, food is put on the table. Obviously, children are going to come out of it. You are responsible legally for ensuring the welfare of the children going to school, monies, hospital, whatever. I mean, there are a lot of people who are running away from these things or possibly avoiding the true implications of being a husband or a wife. But these things they are imposed by law. What it means is that if you neglect these duties, the other party can go to court and get an order of court to compel you to perform those obligations. Indeed and in fact, I mean, until maybe some recently, a woman could even pledge her husband's credit, meaning that she can go into a shop, buy all the kind of thing, necessities of life.
I say my husband will pay.
That is all. That is so. Indeed, it's not like the law has been abolished. It's a common law concept, but it is there. So you go into a shop, and if you've got a man who's willing, a storekeeper who's willing to provide you the goods, which are necessities of life, maybe go and buy foodstuff and whatever, the man can make a valid presentation of the bill or the invoice on your husband. Your husband is obliged to pay. He cannot refuse to pay. I mean, so it's not just for nothing that we sign this contract. And please, what also happens, when I talk about evidence, many times issues arise, typically after one spouse has died. And then rights accrue on the basis of the marriage. And what it means that a lot of people then would deny that, no, it wasn't a wife, oh, it wasn't a husband, that kind of thing, because based on the contractual relationship, that is the fact of the marriage, there are rights that accrue to a person in respect to properties, for instance. I mean, and what it means is that your ability to get A, B, or C would depend on the fact that you are married to that person. I'll go straight. For instance, if you've got what we call the intestate succession law, that determines what a spouse gets.
Yes.
So, for instance, if a man has died, and your case is that you are the wife, even if the man didn't make a will, straight ahead, if the man left a
you're
property,
covered.
the law is that the surviving spouse and the children take that property equally. But you'd be amazed that issues always arise as to who is a wife and who is a husband.
wife.
And prima facie, the document that you rely upon is a marriage certificate. Even for customary marriages, the law provides, as in PNS Law 112, we've got customary marriage and dissolution law that entitles people to register their customary marriage. And when you've done it, the law says the prima facie evidence. So anytime that you produce the certificate, and that is it. It is rather for the other party who claims you are not married to lead evidence to show that you're not married. So that certificate is not for nothing.
I am so glad that we are getting into this, and you are getting into your element, and that's the exciting part of it. Great. So, I mean, what we have been able to establish so far is that when you are planning your marriage, and of course you are in love with the person, and so you get on to courtship, and then you decide that we have built enough friendship and we want to get married, and you're thinking about, oh, that beautiful white dress you're going to wear. The man is thinking about that beautiful tux they're going to wear, and you're thinking about having 10 or 20 bridesmaids and groomsmen and all of those things. You should know that there are responsibilities backed by law that comes with that decision, and you will have to be ready for all of these. Of course, it will not be put in your face.
No.
It will not be put in your face that, oh, if you don't do this, then this. If you don't do this, then this. But when it becomes a problem, you should know that there are laws that will, take its rightful course. And so it's important that, at least at the back of your mind, you know that, for instance, nobody goes to marry their wife or their husband and says that I am going to be beating you.
Naturally.
But you don't also just sit back and say that I got angry and so I probably threw a knife at my husband, and then something happens and all you say is sorry. Somebody may forgive you on the basis of sorry, but another person could decide that we will drag this to court.
Yes.
And they have the right to do that. So it's important that we know some of these things. Now, I also want to find out one of the reasons my friend was afraid, and you
Sure,
talked about
yeah.
it. Also, you talked about it rightly, has to do with property.
Yes.
She had worked.
Yes.
She started work very early and had acquired a few things. It isn't that the men she met were people who hadn't worked or don't have. They are also, very comfortable people. And so these are two comfortable people coming together. And for me, that should be very easy. But she had her own reservations that, look, I have family. I have younger siblings and all of those. She wanted to understand these things properly so that if tomorrow the marriage doesn't work, it doesn't happen that everything I have suffered for goes to the man, and then my family would be left, even if she doesn't have a child. So even if I don't have a child, I would rather my toll goes to my family than this man who may probably end up going to marry another person and using it to take care. She has all of these things running through her mind. But I want us to broaden that part of the conversation.
Right. I mean, it's a right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good to think that way, and her thoughts are not misplaced.
Great.
But as a matter of law, we need to understand what we call properties that are acquired before marriage.
Okay.
If properties are acquired before marriage, at least as far as Ghana law stands now, there's absolutely no way that if something were to happen, when it comes to property distribution, whatever, any of the spouses is going to lay hands or be able, or the law afford the person the opportunity to lay hands on properties that were acquired before marriage. I'll qualify. That's a qualification. There's a caveat.
Great.
So I will show you. It is usually the case of the properties that were acquired during the course of the marriage that brings up these issues. And these issues have been there because Ghanaian customary law essentially placed women and their children outside properties that were acquired during the course of the marriage, because invariably
Outside it?
I'm talking about acquired during the course of the marriage, because invariably customary law took the view that whatever herb that a man, a woman and her children, a wife and her children give to the husband was only for the purpose of assisting the husband in his station in life, and they did not have a portion in it.
In his
property.
property.
Irrespective, whatever. That has been the traditional position, but it has evolved over the period. In the course of time, then the issue became, what economic contribution did the woman make? And I'm saying woman because I'm talking about the facts of life. I mean, it's almost always the case that it's the man who goes out and comes in. The woman is looking. My mom has 7 children, okay? 2 sets of twins. My father was the crutchy who goes and comes in.
back.
He even chose my mother because she had not gone to school.
Yeah.
And that's the way it goes. So
Yeah.
when he goes and comes and he acquires the things in his name, then he sees them as his property.
Exactly.
And you came along.
So what it is that in effect, you are also his property.
Naturally, if a woman were part of a man's properties
Exactly.
until recently, that's sometimes how we need to remind them. But then women have now made a lot of
This is
progress. You
sad.
know what I'm saying? Women have made a lot of progress. So as it is now, I will come to the caveat.
Yeah.
But now, the current state of Ghanaian law, at least judge-made law, I'm talking about Supreme Court, we yet to have the legislation. I mean, we need to distinguish between what we call judge-made law and what comes by way of legislation. That is Parliament making a law to the
And
effect.
passing it
The current
effectively.
position of the law, as pronounced by the Supreme Court, is no longer about what economic contribution a woman made
makes
to the acquisition of
a
properties in the course of the marriage.
And in the name of the man.
In the name of the man, that's how it almost always ended up. So that inflexibly, invariably, if I mean the woman has been married to the man during the time that the property was acquired, then it's 50-50. It's as simple as that. But this will not answer all the questions for your lady friend.
Yeah.
Listen carefully to me. Whatever you have acquired, if you have not made a will, then the pianist law will apply. So what it means, for instance, is that if this is your lady friend, okay, he's got, let's say, one mega property, call it maybe East Legon, wherever it is.
Or
then
a
maybe,
hotel.
Or a hotel. Then the law is that upon her death intestate, the surviving spouse and children, if any, so if doesn't have children, the surviving spouse chooses one of the properties as
Even if it was acquired before
yeah,
the marriage.
yeah. If you haven't made a will, then he lays his hands on it. That is his, by law, by operation of law, and it's as simple as that. So therefore, if you want to avoid that kind of situation, then what you do
make a
is
will.
you make a testamental script in which you indicate how that property must be distributed, where it must go. If you don't do it, I would have loved to marry this woman, you see, and pray both of us live long, but since the men always die, we're always losing the battle. You know what I'm saying? So I don't even know why your friend must be afraid, because the men are almost always dying before the women. Tell her not to be afraid.
It's because of experience.
Yeah.
I mean, for one of the men, what it is that the gentleman is a product of a broken home, and he talks about what they went through after the divorce, and how his mother was left with nothing, and the father just didn't mind them, didn't take care of them. And this was a woman, like you talked about, who had dedicated all her life to taking care of the home. So she didn't have anything, and they suffered. And so her problem is, if you were even a product of such a situation, why do you not want us to have this conversation? And again, I'm sure a lot of people are beginning to say, oh, I see. But I see a problem.
Yeah.
If you acquired properties before marriage, and the marriage obviously was based on love, friendship, courtship, I know you, I believe in you, I'll die with you, we are in it together. And then you realize that your partner has a will, or has made a will, and you are excluded from all the things that he or she acquired before the marriage. Won't that also be from, this is not to you as a lawyer, but to you as a counselor, won't that also bring a lot of issues?
Now, the contents of wills are not disclosed. It's your privacy. It's your something private.
The person
to you.
will curse you when your ghost is.
Well, that's good to be cursed when you are dead. You know what I'm saying? A lot of men, especially, make a lot of promises to their wives about what they are living for them. When they die, then they notice that it was folk talk. That's what they call it.
Oh, gee.
You know what I'm saying? When they are in bed, the men, they become rappers.
Excited.
You are right. They
And then
talk
you're
a
saying
lot.
a lot of
Yeah. So that's how. However you curse them, they are gone. But that's the way it goes. And I mean, so first and foremost, a will is somebody's secret document, unless by some carelessness you have exposed the contents. And the man says, I ever had a client whom I did a draft will for to go and invest, to go and look through and bring it back. The next time he came, the man was scared, very anxious and very alarmed and whatever. He had misplaced the will, and he feared that the woman that he was living with, the woman, because they both had, it's like some of these people, they are married, had their children, he had their children, they come together. It's like our child, your child and my child are beating our child, that kind of marriages. So, and truly, he had excluded the wife out of the well.
And she saw it?
She saw it.
Oh,
So he
Jesus.
came and was very alarmed and was asking lawyer, what must I do, lawyer? I suspect my wife has taken it. Should I report her to the police? This has got nothing to do with the police.
Then he
This
never
girl-
loved the woman.
Then-
Why
no,
don't you
no,
just
no,
divorce
he
her?
was scared because see,
You
when
want to go
people-
and report her to
they've
the
gone to
police
World
for
War.
citing
One has
your
gone to
will.
World War II. One has gone to World War III. And when they've come together,
Oh,
they are
no.
scared of one another and they try to make the
No.
best out of it. But outside those contexts, your will is your will.
Your will is
It's
your will,
going.
and
You
must
go and
be
lodge it. You're
respected.
very right. You go and lodge it in the court, the register of the court, and that will be it. Nobody has access to it.
But people contest wills.
Well, that's a different matter. You contest the will because you claim that at the time the will was made, the person was not composed mentis or he had lost the mind or whatever. I mean, those are different issues. Unless, of course, the person is saying that property does not belong to you alone. So you got no right to what you call invest it in the way that you've done it because I have a share. But that conversation is almost always from the side of the woman. You know,
And by which time the other spouse is probably
of
dead
course,
and
these things come up when the man is
dead
there.
and
Like, for
gone.
instance, a man, the situation we find ourselves where a man lives with his wife, and then he still believes that the property is his, okay? Notwithstanding whatever the woman put in. And then when he's dead, he has left a will in which he's disposing the property to somebody else other than his wife and children. Then the wife is entitled to make a case that this property was acquired during the course of the marriage, and therefore I will not permit you to vest it or to devise it the way that you've done. Then that becomes an issue. And when it goes before the court, the judge would have to make a determination whether the man, given all the circumstances of the case, could have laid claim to the property as his sole property, or in the context or in the circumstances, the woman had a fair share in it.
Great. 0302216541 0302216541 will be our number to call, and then 05511119997 is our WhatsApp number. 05511119997. This is a masterclass on your marriage and the law, and it's very, very, very insightful. Now, on this program, right, we
Yes.
talk about a few things. So some of the blocks I'm asking us to discuss and how the law impacts it in our marriage is based on topics we have discussed here.
Sure.
So, for instance, we've looked at the importance of the marriage certificate,
Sure.
which is not just maji like a lot of women do.
Right.
It means a lot. It has a
Sure.
lot of implications.
Yeah.
So we've talked about the rights and the responsibilities that the certificate puts on you.
Sure.
We've talked about property,
Yes.
which is also very important. Then we have conversations on full disclosure. When we have our conversations on what premarital, we have premarital counseling here in the studio. We talk about full disclosure, that from the moral point of view, it is always very important that if there are things that your partner needs to know, you tell them. For instance, you have a health problem that will, in effect, impact the marriage. It's important that you talk about it so that the people are making the decision knowing that I knew what I was doing. If you have children elsewhere, you talk about it. If you are in debt somewhere, you talk about it. So anything that could impact the marriage, if your partner gets to find out later, it's important that you have those conversations so that you guys are all on the same page. Now, if people refuse to disclose some of these things, that could have impact on the marriage and impact on any individual in the marriage. Are these also backed and supported by law somehow in the marriage?
Yeah.
Like false pretense?
Now, what happened? Let's put it this way: the issues that you've raised.
Yeah.
As a matter of law, if a party, I mean, what the law specifically deals with is a venereal disease, which is incurable. If you refuse to disclose, it could form a basis for the annulling the marriage.
Okay.
In other words, whichever party, I mean, the petitioner, you go to court, you can ask that the marriage
Be
be
annulled.
annulled on the basis that your partner or your spouse had an incurable, a veneration which is incurable and failed to disclose
Close to
it.
you.
But then you must also bring the petition within 1 year. And you must also demonstrate to the court that you did not know
No.
at all material times. But if you knew, and notwithstanding that, you did what you're required
Then
to
you do
do,
not
then
have
it's
a
too
case.
late
Great.
for you to have the marriage annulled.
Great.
So those what do you call annulment, we call them voidable. They are voidable in the sense that it's at your election, it's at your option, even though it constitutes, if I put it, an offense. It's not a criminal offense. I'm talking about one of the grounds for for dissolving the marriage. It's at your option. You can choose to live with it. But if you decide that on that basis you want to have the marriage annulled, then you can go to court.
Great.
The other things that you mentioned, you see, I'll put it this way, because they are not necessarily legal. In other words, the fact that somebody had a child did not disclose, but it breaks down trust, mutual trust. And I will tell you that one of the things, I had to marry before I got hurt for the first time. Because when you are in love, there are a lot of things that love makes you blind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
love
then
is
when you
blind,
get into a
actually.
relative of marriage, because emotions, deep emotions are involved, that's when people get hurt. And for men in particular, if a man gets to know that you had a child that you never disclosed,
Closed.
it's like he's wondering, what else doesn't
Are
he
you
know?
hiding?
You know what I'm saying? That is what
Yes.
the real issue is. And those are things that can be managed. It's hurting, but people can manage it. And if it comes to me, I may not necessarily use that as a basis for advising you
go
to.
to
It,
court
it,
and
it, it,
yeah.
it breaks that certain sin. It hurts people. We go, if we're a man, go under the bath, put up the shower. When you come out, you bath, and that'll be okay. You'll be able to manage it. You know what I'm saying? So with women, because in marriage, some people have got a lot of fear. A lot of fear.
Yeah.
And the fear really is that this man that I have found, this woman that I have found, I really want to marry her, but possibly if she gets to know of this, it's a form of immaturity, if I may put it that way. If she gets to know of this, then she may
leave me.
not want to marry me. So then I would rather lie about it. It's very unfortunate. So, but that one, you can't go to court and say, I married her before I got to have a child. Really? Got to know have a child. That can be a basis for dissolving a marriage.
But what could happen, as I see it, like you were saying, so you got married to the person and then you realize that, oh, apparently they had about 3 children you didn't know. What could eventually happen if the person is unable to deal with it? Could be that, look, like you're saying, trust is broken. Because of that, your partner may withdraw because counseling and therapy may not be helping them. They see you like you're a liar, you're a traitor, you're this. They withdraw from you, and all of a sudden, some people could start having relationships outside.
You're right.
And then you could go on for a year or two, and you haven't had any sexual relationships with your partner. And that could begin to frustrate you. And if you don't take it, that could eventually lead to an annulment, isn't it?
It is, but I'll put it this way. You know, you are shifting us into another conversation,
I'm
which
not.
are the grounds.
All
I'm
I'm
just saying
trying
that
to say
it's a
is
natural
that
conversation. No, I'm
from
just
the
saying
moral
that.
point of
No,
view-
I'm just saying that it is moving into something that I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
Because essentially we are talking about what are the reasons that a court will accept, for instance, to dissolve a marriage.
Okay.
Whether it includes what we're saying.
Yeah.
The one ground for the dissolution of marriage is that the parties, what do you call it, cannot reconcile their differences. But I want this, on this program, I want to make it clear to everybody listening to me, is that it is not every reason that a
You
court
give.
would accept for the dissolution
course.
of marriage.
Of course.
I don't love her any longer. I don't love him any longer. Can never be a reason for a court to dissolve marriage. And there are cases in our course in our law report where, notwithstanding the fact that both parties desired to have their marriage dissolved, in other words, a petition and cross petition, a judge has refused the dissolution of the marriage by from both parties. So one of the first things that I like people to understand when they come for these discussions is that a divorce is not yours for the asking. You don't get a divorce because you just think that you want it. You're not going to get it. There are specific grounds that the law requires you to prove before a judge, before the judge would grant you that certificate.
Hopefully you are available next week.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about the divorce proper.
Yes.
And then after that,
Yes.
you know, sometimes it comes with alimony issues, it
Sure.
comes with custody issues and all that. And so we will have those conversations. I mean, and the essence of these conversations is just so we know that laws exist. It is only when you get on the wrong side of the law that you know that law day. And so it's important. The point I was trying to raise with Lawyer Pencil is that if you love somebody, like you said,
Yes.
then it's important to come clean with them.
Sure.
It's important that you come clean with them, because it could lead one thing into the other, the lies, one lie to the other. And in as much as it may just be, oh, I didn't tell you that I had a child when I was in JHS or secondary school, and this may be like 20 years ago. It could affect the other party so much that it will break the marriage. The law, the courts may not grant you divorce on that, but you know that you are just walking inside the marriage, because
But I want to
there is no
empower your women.
relationship.
I want to empower your women by telling them that. I'm speaking from my own experience that when a man wants to marry, he will marry you even if you are squint in your one eye. He will marry you with anything. Because see, there's something in a man's life, when a man gets to a point that he wants to marry, it is a definite point in his life. And I'm telling you, and that's one thing possibly women do not know. I mean,
They will marry you just for their own convenience.
not convenience. You see, when a man has decided, the decision, first and foremost, I've told you that it's not an economic decision. I mean, come on, we've got people who possibly have targeted women for those kind of things. But I'm talking about a man who wants to marry, when he's determined to marry. You get to a point in your life, you yourself, nobody tells you. You know that you want to marry. And I'm telling you that once you've picked on the woman that you want to marry, it does not matter what comes up. You would marry. I'm telling you. Listen to me. We're in the university.
I am
the
lost. I'm not getting the point you're making.
The point I'm making is that
Yes.
this disclosure, tell the man whatever it is.
Okay, great.
And when
great.
he's determined to marry you,
He will
marry you.
That's
So,
it. That's it.
no problem. Just say it.
And not just for the man, the woman too.
Naturally.
You know, and no, I mean the men too.
Yeah.
The men also have excess baggage and
That
things
is
they have
so.
to do. Everybody should disclose.
That is so.
Because we have equal rights in the marriage. Don't
Naturally.
we? Yeah, so everybody should disclose, because the cost of the non-disclosure of some of these things in the marriage.
You might
is
even have
so
a criminal
high.
record. You might even have a
Exactly.
criminal record. You might have
You
gone to
know?
prison. When you tell a woman that this and this, you know, there's a song that's moving around. Usuban yesumepe usa. You know that song? You know? I mean,
I get it, yeah.
you know what I mean? So that's the way it is. I mean, please disclose. Make full disclosure.
Oh my God.
And of course, if after disclose, the person won't marry you. Fair enough.
Exactly.
Let him go.
But you know, last week I was asking my guest that this thing about full disclosure too. So we'll be going around the issues. Sometimes you do the full disclosure and the person says, "Wow, I didn't know this."
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna think about it, and they don't come back.
Let them not come back.
And you would have disclosed to about 3-4 people, and they don't come back, and you ask, to what end?
No.
Up
I
until
don't.
when will
I don't
continue
agree. Let me tell you
disclosing?
what. Sometimes the only reason we do the things that we do is just to convince yourself you're doing the right thing.
Exactly.
If the whole world disagrees, so be it. It could be 4 people, 5 people. One person is going to come along
And say, look,
and that will be
it doesn't matter.
And that will be it.
Great.
Yes.
Great. So we have been talking about your marriage and the law, and it's very, very insightful. If you're joining us, this is Home Affairs on Joy 99.7 FM and also on Joy Prime. Right now, let's make some money. Do you know about the new delicious? I am talking about Ongalicious, which is now the new delicious. Create those amazing moments with your favorite onga seasoning. No matter your cooking experience, onga is a delight to make great tasting meals in every home. Onga is convenient to use and it brings out that great taste and aroma in your meals. Let's toast to the new onga chicken tablet with superior taste and comforting aroma for all your chicken meals. Mama's helping hand. Onga, proudly Ghanaian. Connect with the team at Onga on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter on at Onga Ghana. And just like moms know what to do in every situation, you can trust any of the Fortune rice brands for all your rice meals for every occasion. It needs just a little water. Emphasis on a little water. The grains don't stick together and the aroma and taste are delicious. If you're thinking of cooking jollof, rice, fried rice, rice balls, and any other rice dish, sorry, you can think about, choose Fortune. We have Fortune Classic, it's green, the Fortune Delight is orange, and then the Fortune Delicious comes in a red pack. Get yours now and you won't regret it. We have it, Fortune Rice, always on point, just like mom. And I told you earlier about Better Malt. Let's start this off by clapping for all mothers. Yay! Not all heroes wear capes, so because to be a mother, you have to keep getting better every day, and that's so true. One day I will come and share my daily routine. Wake up in the morning, what I do till I get back, and you realize that be joke. So mothers, we deserve it. Dressing up, cooking, working, you name it, because the children are watching and learning. That's why you must always make choices when packing lunch for the family or for the kids. Make sure there's Better Malt to go with. Needs sorry, if you need a break from work, refresh yourself with Better Malt. And when you need a drink to top up your delicious lunch, remember it is always Better Malt. Better Malt, because like mommy, like me. And I was telling you that we have a promotion coming up. All you have to do is send me 6 lines of poems, between 6 and 8 lines, okay? And just try to play around, just like mommy. Because like mommy, like me. Just try to play around it. Because like mommy, like me. We have packs, loads of Better Malt packs to give away. So send it to 05511119997 and hashtag Better Malt so that we are able to find it easily on the console. Hashtag Better Malt and write a 6 to 8 line poem, and it should have the words because like mommy, like me. And for your best, for your eyes, you should know that they deserve the best care and quality designer eyeglasses, and Amasha Partners Limited has it all. At Amasha, in addition to general treatment, you can test your sight, purchase designer frames, lenses, sunglasses, and contact lenses. And you can even consult an ophthalmologist there. Locate them at that's opposite Trade Fair. Spencer's, they are adjacent ICGC before Community 18 Junction, Tema Community 1 Meridian Plaza, Kolebu opposite ECGC, and McCarthy Hill opposite Benjay Lodge, North Kaneshi Swan Lake opposite Green Hand Junction, Achimota first floor at the Denswa Plaza, Takrady, they are on the Exim Road, Ho, they are opposite the Housing Junction, Kumasi at the airport roundabout, Koforidia Central Hospital Road. And so for all your eye care challenges, contact Amasha Partners Limited on 0302 939850. Also on 0308 962226, and then on 0235 331662. Also follow the team at Amasha Eye Care on Facebook and Instagram. And everyone can use Koba. It's got a payment channel for the big bosses, the market woman, the mechanic, and the cocoa seller, and the small shop owner. Sit back, relax, and simply pay for your Old Students Association dues and contributions. Transfer funds across all bank accounts or mobile money wallets, top up airtime and data, and pay for your insurance, your TV subscription, your utility bills, pay for your school fees, and even the wachi. Do all these and more on Koba and get a free life insurance cover with Prudential Life while you transact business on Koba. Use Koba, Korba, and enjoy life's little pleasures. Download Koba on Play Store or App Store, or so on App Store and Play Store, or on WhatsApp via the channel 0242426186, or you can just simply dial *365# and follow the prompts. Koba, our lives simplified. Okay, 0302216541. We'll see if we can take a few phone calls, but we'll take a short break. We'll be right back.
My Daisy copies everything I do.
I do everything my mommy does.
She copies the way I dress up.
I dress like her.
She copies the way I work.
I do my homework like her.
She even copies the way I talk. Hey, Daisy! That's why I know that to give her a better life, I must do better myself. So when I'm drinking my better malt, she always makes sure she has hers in hand as well. Mummy's happy and Daisy's happy too. Better malt. Be better every day. This advert is FDA approved.
Are you looking to source for fresh quality fruits and vegetables? Connect with the right agribusiness actors and explore opportunities in the horticulture sector. Then, be at this year's Fruits and Vegetable Fair happening at the AFWA Sutherland's Children's Park from Thursday, October 28th to Saturday, October 30th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. daily. Theme: Enhancing Horticulture Trade Patterns in the COVID-19 era. There will be seminars on food safety and horticulture-related challenges. Catch us live on Facebook and Instagram. The fair is in partnership with the Chamber of Agribusiness Ghana, Soko Center, Wapcom Media, and Agric Today. Attendance is free. Come one, come all.
Adriani dead, Onga chicken tablets. Adriani dead, Onga chicken tablets. Why you me do? Why you me do? Why me do? Onga chicken tablets. Get this to me. Get this to me. Onga chicken tablets. Cook on who give me. Adriani yes weni onga dielele. Onga chicken tablets.
Introducing the new Onga Chicken Tablet.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Just like moms know what to do in every situation, you can trust Fortune Rice for all your rice meals. It needs just a little water. The grains don't stick, and the aroma and taste are delicious.
Fortune Rice is all we need. Just like mom.
Fortune Rice, always on point, just like mom. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Ophebia, did you brush your teeth before eating?
No, mommy. Anytime I use daddy's toothpaste, I get bruises in my mouth, and sometimes I feel like vomiting.
That's not an excuse. As a child, you need to brush your teeth before you take your breakfast to avoid tartar and cavity, okay? And you, why are you laughing at your sister? Have you brushed your teeth?
Yes, mom. I used the Kel Kids toothpaste you brought yesterday to brush my teeth.
Well done, darling. Kel Kids toothpaste is made for kids like you from 2 years to 6 years.
It was so sweet like strawberry. I even wanted to eat it, mom.
No, you can't eat it. It's toothpaste, not toffee, okay? It's always advisable to give your kids Kel Kids toothpaste to brush their teeth. Kel Kids toothpaste strengthens teeth and prevents decay and cavities. As a mother, I always make sure my kids use Kel Kids toothpaste. Kel Kids toothpaste with strawberry flavor makes brushing exciting for our kids.
Kel, happy smart.
This advert is FDA approved. Adriani dead, Onga chicken tablets. Adriani dead, Onga chicken tablets. Why you me do? Why you me do? Why me do? Onga chicken tablets. Get this to me. Get this to me. Onga chicken tablets. Diani dieseweni, onga dielele, yeah. Onga chicken tablet.
Introducing the new Onga Chicken Tablet.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
My Daisy copies everything I do.
I do everything my mommy does.
She copies the way I dress up.
I dress like her.
She copies the way I work.
I do my homework like her.
She even copies the way I talk. Hey, Daisy. That's why I know that to give her a better life, I must do better myself. So when I'm drinking my better malt, she always makes sure she has hers in hand as well. Mummy's happy and Daisy's happy too. Better malt. Be better every day. This advert is FDA approved.
It's cashback season once again at CompuGhana. Rush to any CompuGhana store nationwide for unbeatable offers. Promotions begin now for all your favorite brands like LG, Samsung, Tecno, Infinix, HP, and so much more. Shop at any CompuGhana branch nationwide or online at www.compughana.com. Download our app today for exclusive offers available on Android Play Store or App Store. Contact us on 030-7070-701 or WhatsApp us on 0243-143-143. CompuGhana, passion for technology.
Thank you very much for joining us. It's been very insightful. It's Home Affairs on Joy 99.7 FM. But don't worry, if you missed a good part of the conversation, you can catch it on Facebook and on YouTube at Joy 997. Now, there are interesting questions coming up, but too bad, our time is almost up. Good morning. I'm Nee from Kokomlimne. Please, if I'm staying with a lady whom I have had 2 kids with, but have not married, I built my house and we're staying together. She's not working. I do everything. In case we want to part ways, can she claim ownership of my house?
The answer is a simple one. Now we've got what we call presumption of marriage, where a man and woman have not gone through the formal processes, whether customary, whether ordinance, whether Islamic, but nonetheless, they are living and holding themselves out for all practical purpose to the world as a husband and wife. Now our law has developed to the point where the court will hold that they are married. And then the incident of marriage, the relationship, the outcome of this will apply. So in the particular context, notwithstanding the fact that he has not formally married her, the law will presume that they are husband and wife. And the woman will be entitled as a matter of law to the same rights that a married woman would have to the property. So the woman, if you decide to sack her today and she get a smart lawyer, I'm sorry, the property is half yours.
And especially so with 2 children.
You have 2 children. If you're not careful, you may even get an order of court that will put you out of the house so that the woman and the children will occupy the house.
So please go and do what you have to do. Sometimes it is difficult to do full disclosure. As some husbands, if it is negative, tends to use it as an insult day in, day out. What do you do in this case?
Full disclosure is full disclosure.
You know.
Because you can't keep... Okay, let's put it this way. Even for some of them, when they are in a marriage, what we now call funeral children. Okay, they go outside. No, the men who go outside the marriage to have children outside the marriage and they cannot bring them home, they cannot inform their wives. These issues almost always crop up for property distribution. If the man has died, then for the first time, these are what we call them the side chicks and whatever, so forth. When they come up, the children have rights. But obviously, I believe the question is intended to be answered within the context of a subsistent marriage.
Great.
And if that issue arises during the course of the marriage, I mean, I cannot possibly tell of any good reason that anybody will have for not making full disclosures. So if you decide that you won't make disclosures, the only thing I'll tell you that there are legal consequences for not disclosing information. For instance, if it comes up, then the wife or the husband, as appropriate, typically the husband that we're talking about, because they are the only people who can hide things out of the home. A woman can't be pregnant and hide it while she's in a home. Maybe it can also be found out that DNA or that telepathy was in a marriage, but nonetheless, it could constitute what in law we call unreasonable behavior, and then it could form a basis or a ground for dissolving the marriage.
Okay, great.
Yes.
So our time is so up. I was going to get into sexual behaviors and all of those, and which grounds constitute divorce and all. But we'll keep it for next week. And then what we'll do next week also is that we will answer a lot of your questions next week, because that's just basically what that one, divorce, the issues of alimony and custody. We'll talk about them and then answer a lot of your questions next week. But before I go, once again, just like moms know what to do in every situation, you can trust any of the Fortune Rice brands for all your rice meals for every occasion. It needs just a little water, and remember, a little water. The grains don't stick together, and the aroma and taste, delicious. So if you're thinking of cooking any rice dish at all, please choose Fortune. It comes in the green, which is the classic, orange, which is the Fortune, and then the red pack is the Delight. We have it, Fortune Rice, always on point, just like mom. And one more time, you know about the new delicious. We're talking about Onga-licious. No matter your cooking experience, Onga is a delight to make great tasting meals every day. And Onga is convenient to use and adds this great taste and aroma to your meals. And also, let's toast to the Onga chicken tablet with superior taste for all your chicken meals. Onga, Mama's helping hand. Onga, proudly Ghanaian. You can connect with the team at Onga on Facebook and Instagram, and on Twitter at Onga Ghana. And I told you about the Better Malts promotion. So make sure that you're sending in your 6 to 8 line poem, or rhyme it, and make sure that you are playing around the words, because like mommy, like me. Next week, we will select a winner. So send them to our WhatsApp number 05511111997, and make sure you hashtag Better Malt so we are able to separate it from the lot. Lawyer Pencil, God bless you so much this morning for coming.
You.
It's been very insightful.
You're
There was a
welcome.
question. Someone was asking if you actually mentioned that customary marriages also came with certificates.
You're very right.
And if you have
You have to go to a district assembly.
a Muslim who has different concubines and all, the question came up. But next week we'll look at it.
You're
We'll
very right.
compile all the questions,
Sure.
look at it, and answer a lot of the questions on
Sure.
people's minds.
Sure.
So thank you very much.
It's
God
my
bless
pleasure.
you.
It's my pleasure.
Great.
You're welcome.
So thank you all very much for doing the listening. We love you. Make sure you enjoy the weekend and, get some rest. And remember to have a little bit of faith. And also remember to show care to people. My name is Edem Naite. Production team led by Mauli and Daniela Idwasari. Fairboy was playing multiple roles around here. God bless all of you. Thank you. And see you next week. Bye-bye.
Sunny is back in Ghana with a whole new world of entertainment tailored for you. We have some amazing products with unbeatable prices for 4K Android OLED, 4K Android UHD, and Smart FHD television that comes with cognitive intelligent TV and ultra clear sound also. Enjoy the amazing one-box music and chic sound from Chic Series. Experience these amazing prices at the following shops: Electromat, CompuGhana, Melcom, Shree, Krishna, Palace, Indus, Prime